This isn't just a gallery, it's an act of making a city, says Bruce Kawabara, founding partner of KPMB Architects, at the opening of the Rime Modern, a vast glass and steel art museum in Saskatoon. The 84.6 million Cordobas, £51 million, project would be a major event for any city, let alone a small university town of 250,000 in the wheat-filled Canadian prairies. Saskatoon is on the cusp of something. It's the third fastest growing city in Canada, has one of the country's youngest demographics, and its economy is growing, though not as fast as it was. The latter fact is thanks in great part to an oil and gas industry that, controversially, is charged some of the lowest tax rates in the world and has helped create more than 8,000 millionaires in the province of Saskatchewan. The Rime Modern, 4 horizontal cantilevered volumes in a raised position by the South Saskatchewan River, is also the recipient of one of the biggest philanthropic arts donations in Canadian history. A series of new developments are being built across the road from the museum, including an office tower, a high-rise condominium and a 15-story boutique hotel. The downtown neighborhood of Riversdale, a short walk away, was until recently a cheap home for new immigrants and less affluent communities. It is fast filling up with independently owned bars, artisan coffee shops, trendy co-working spaces, and small restaurants serving experimental and locally grown fare. Riversdale was a bit of a ghost town 6 or 7 years ago, says Andy Yuen, owner of The Odd Couple, an independent restaurant in the area. From a business perspective, having a world-class gallery a 10-minute walk away is amazing. This is not the first time a smaller city has tried to reinvent or elevate itself with a high-profile gallery. Think the Mona in Hobart, the Turner in Margate, or, most famous of all, the Guggenheim in Bilbao. The latter spawned a phenomenon called the Bilbao effect, supposed to describe the trickle-down economic benefits and rise in tourism that happens as a result of this sort of splashy arts project. But will it work in Saskatoon? Saskatchewan is already a center for Indigenous art. The idea that the Rime will turn it into that is hurtful. The museum is confident it will and says that the Rime will support 292 full-time jobs and contribute $34 million to Saskatoon's GDP over the first 2 years. Jen Budney, a Saskatoon-based curator, is more skeptical. She believes that even in Bilbao the effect is highly questionable. Poverty has risen in the Basque City and the art scene has flourished only thanks to generous investments in grassroots arts organizations by city officials. Even if the projected number of tourists do arrive in Saskatoon, in the absence of any other policies and programs, the real Bilbao effect will be the creation of a few highly paid managerial positions and many more minimum wage jobs, she says. Priscilla Settee, professor of Indigenous Studies at the University of Saskatchewan, believes the money for the museum could have been better used. Poverty is a huge issue for too many Saskatoon residents, many of whom are Indigenous peoples, she says.